Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.
Hello, world, and welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle. I'm your Renaissance man, Cornelius. I'm here with my special guest, Harold K. Weber, associate in marriage and family therapist. How you doing today, Harold?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, Cornelius.
Good.
I'm doing real good.
I tell you what, on your bio, I wanted you to do this because I was going to read it, but I'm not. But I'm going to ask you a question about yourself. Tell me about yourself.
Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Product of the United States Air Force. Been out in California forever. Arrived in California in 1980, and since then it's just been just a journey. You know, married 11,000 years. Got 4 kids. 10 grandkids, a couple of great grandkids. Pastor a dynamic church in the Moreno Valley area, and I'm also an associate marriage and family therapist here in the Inland Empire. As a matter of fact, I practice at the Grove Counseling Agency. There in Riverside. So that's me in a nutshell. In a nutshell.
Okay, you say you were born in St. Louis. You have so many jobs and things. You sure you're not Jamaican?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not. There might be some connection somewhere. I don't even classify them as jobs. I mean, they're really callings. They're my passion. I don't really work in that capacity. I do really what I enjoy, and I'm blessed to be, I guess, make a living from it. But I just don't see them as jobs. I don't really want a job ever in life.
Right. Okay. But pastor, and that's you're a pastor, and then you're a marriage and family therapist.
Right.
So, do you ever sometime, like, when let's say that, because when you're a pastor, you also counsel your congregation too.
Sure.
And then you go to work and you have the therapy with the marriage and the families.
Right.
Do you ever have somebody come into you, say, for example, they want to get married, and then you counsel them and you're thinking to yourself, no, this is not going to work, just from seeing them?
Well, what we do as counselors in general, we don't tell people what to do. We just go through a process of asking questions and allowing them to match up things where they can come to their own aha moment. It really works best when you get a revelation or the insight of maybe we should wait, or maybe I should do something different. And as a therapist and a pastor, you want people to come to that understanding. Now, pastors generally have more insight and give more direction, and may even give counsel or suggestions. But as a therapist, we're walking you through a process to where you have this self-actualization, where you come to like, you know what, I don't think I'm ready for this, or I need to, change some things or shift some gears. And so folks have the capacity, once they get enough information, if they're on a search for truth, they'll come to it and they'll go, oh, okay, well, maybe I should do something different, or get myself together first.
Okay, that's the beginning. That's the start point. But what about when they come to you for therapy after they've already committed and been married, and you're thinking, okay, I talked to these people a few years ago, and now they're back and they're already ready to separate or divorce? You think sometimes like, okay, well, I didn't think that was going to work anyway, because even though you counsel them, you tell them, but they're still going to do what they want to do. And do you ever say something like, you think, well, I told you, but you got to, of course, in your mind.
Yeah, in my mind, I don't even allow my mind to operate on that level. As a therapist, we try to determine why something didn't work. And then the couple, if it's a couple or even a family, they have to come to the place, if they have a will, to do the things that make for good relationships. Some people invariably want it their way, and if you only want it your way, then it makes relationship difficult, especially a healthy relationship where there's another person, unless you're planning to just have a relationship with yourself.
So maybe even then they need counseling. They stay with themselves too long.
they,
They realize there was a
might-
problem
they
all
want
the
to
time.
separate from themselves, right?
Right, right.
But no, counseling is just about putting it out there. It's a prescription. When clients come in from a counseling perspective or a therapeutic perspective, I run this parallel. It's it's parallel to physical therapy. When you go to a physical therapist, you go because there's been some kind of trauma on some extremity of your body. Maybe you sprain uh, an ankle. Well, you go because you want to strengthen that ankle and increase its range of flexibility. Well, we have emotional and mental flexibility as well, that sometimes through trauma and misunderstanding, that relationship gets strained. And so we try to stretch people past their pain point to get them to the pleasure or the promise point. But you still have to go through and do the work. If there's a problem with therapy, it's a problem with people not doing the work. They just can't get past their emotional trauma or hang-ups. And so that's generally why it doesn't work, because people don't work.
With anything, you have to put in the effort
You must put in the effort. And then
and the work.
then there comes a point if it's not working possibly, you may have to throw in the towel. I mean, it's just not, maybe it just won't work for you.
Before the actual knockout.
Yeah, you don't want to get knocked out.
Right.
We don't advocate violence
Right.
on any level at all.
Right.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Right.
not.
And that's important what you said, the quality, what kind of quality you want, because as we know, that quality time spent is what builds relationships, the amount of time you put. Because when you put in quality time, it's different than just putting in time.
Well, and even that in of itself, you have to come to an understanding of what's quality time for you. It might be different for me. And so if you're in a relationship, you kind of put it all out on the table and really determine what's going to make the relationship work. See, the relationship is more about the relationship than it is about the individuals. Each individual has to put something in the relationship to build equity in the relationship so that it can go up in value, similar to real estate. I mean, if you never build equity in your relationship, if you hit a bump in the road, you can't make a withdrawal from it. You can't take anything out of it because the relationship is already upside down. So every argument is the next, hey, I'm out of here. But if you've built equity and there's been some loyalty and some trust, if you make a mistake or two, you still have time to recover.
That's like a mistake or two. But a lot of people, what they say, I'm one and done. And so that means they haven't put in the time for it, or before you get together, and you should have things that you talk about. So you need to have this foundation that everything's built on.
You should.
So, because after a while, the looks and all that, you get used to that. And if that's all it is based on the looks or materials, sooner or later that crumbles.
You sound like you're talking from personal experience, Carl.
I am.
Okay, it sounds like that.
I am talking from personal experience.
Okay.
You see, you say you've been married how many years?
43.
43.
That's
See,
forever.
I'm not married right now, but I once was. So that tells you
That you've had an experience.
that I had an experience.
Right.
A lot of times what happens when people have certain experiences, they take that on and on to the next one, to the next, to the next. They never let it go. So that's part of why they can't get into a new relationship, or they can't get past it, or even force friendships goes.
Well, the thing that I would recommend before you get into a new relationship, that you do some self-discovery, that you maybe go to a friend or your pastor or maybe even a therapist and ask the question, well, was it me? Was it what did I do to contribute to the demise of the relationship? Because getting out of one relationship and going into another relationship expecting it to be so much better when you're bringing some of the trauma and some of your limited capacity into a new relationship, because like with anything else, that euphoria,
Right.
that's going to wane. The newness is going to wane, and you've got to learn ways to keep the relationship fresh.
Right. So speaking of that, because when you're in a relationship, a lot of times that has to do with your, like you say, things that happen to you in life. So that can have the same thing with families. And so a lot of times what we find out is a lot of reason why certain people have issues with a relationship is because of the way they grew up or their family, the way their family was growing up, what type of family they grew up in. And so is there a difference in a family that grows up in a household with a mother and a father as opposed to maybe a single parent?
I wouldn't. I just look on the face of it. You would say, well, yeah, if somebody had a two-parent household, they've got people that share the load. Just from a doing the math perspective, somebody takes responsibility for this, and you've got people to share it. Yeah, that works great. But what you also have to take into consideration is if those two people are healthy. If those two people are unhealthy in their relationship and or they come from dysfunction, you can't necessarily say that a two-parent household is as healthy as a one-parent household. If that one-parent household has the infrastructure, maybe they belong to a religious organization where they've got support and they've got support for the family. And so it's not necessarily so that a two-parent household is more healthier than a one-parent household. But if the two-parent household, if they're healthy, if they're sharing the load, sure, just by the fact that there are two people there, it definitely will. It definitely will help. Now, we experience something in our, even in our culture, where it seems like there's a fatherless generations. The statistics are very, very clear in the African American community. Almost 50% of the homes are led by a single parent, which is typically a single mother. And there are other things that, again, have to be factored in to determine, the whys and the hows, and if that relationship was healthy or not. Because obviously, if you're in unhealthy situations, you're going to produce unhealthy uh, children. But I do want to give credit to the single parent households out there that have done the work
Right.
to be as healthy as they can. And I'm not going to join the chorus of stigmatizing single parent household, because there's some single parents out there that are doing a wonderful job. The kids are doing well. Sure, would it be nice if they had help and another healthy person? But in some cases, you just got to kind of go with what you got to go with. And I wouldn't suggest to any single parent household that they throw in the towel. I would suggest to them that they find a village. They said it takes a village to raise a
Right.
child,
Right.
that they find a village, that they get support from other family members, from other groups that they're a part of. If they are part of a church, get some support, get that infrastructure around them that can help replace some of that might be missing in the home, because there are dynamics that we need both parents. We need
Right.
both parents,
Right.
but because of life in and of itself, it's not all. It doesn't always work out that way.
Right. But you said, like mainly you talked about the black parents being the biggest number, but it's not only black single parents, but everybody. But does it affect men or boys different than girls?
It depends on the dynamic. It depends on that parent that's there. If they're able to, again, with that support system, the school of thought is that a young man needs his father, but I also would say a young man needs his mother. A young lady needs her father. Also, they need the mother. They need both. And so you've got to do the best that you can if you're in that single parent situation to just develop infrastructure. The closest thing to having a parent in your life is somebody that's like a parent. The closest thing to having
Right.
not having a father in your life is somebody that was like a father. It could be an uncle. Sure, I would love to see everybody have, single uh, two-parent households. I think when it's healthy, it's a beautiful thing. I think that's how it's intended to be. But life happens. Life
Yes.
happens. So does it affect boys more than girls? It all depends on whoever that single parent is. Say if that single parent is a mom and she doesn't know how to deal with the complexities of a teenage boy going through adolescence. There's just some issues with anatomy and body and things of that nature that obviously would be more comfortable talking to another male about. Same thing with a young girl. I mean, she goes through a process in life, anatomy is changing. Sure, it would be nice to have somebody there that identifies with her as well.
Okay, we're going to go to a break and we're going to pick that up when we come back.
You're listening to Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I'm your host, Ricky Perry, and we are affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and Sports, where we broadcast to over 5 million households in the greater Los Angeles area. If you missed our previous shows, you can watch us on our streaming networks on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and the Android app.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951-378-5316, 951-378-5316.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about, so join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Hey guys, it's Damon, Mr. Foxy, Damon Hart, and I'm here with the Real Men of Real Estate. And I just want to say, hey, come and watch us this Sunday, 1 p.m., live, every Sunday, okay? We're going to be on KCAA Radio. 10:50 a.m., 106.5 FM. If you got a minute, just tune in. We can't wait to have you here. I'm going to be there. If you can't make it on there, we're going to be at Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, or Android app on Building Solid Foundations channel. So tune in. You know what you got to do in the meantime. Keep it foxy.
Welcome back to the Fabulous Lifestyle Show. I'm your host, Cornelius. We have here today Harold, a marriage and family therapist. You touched on something before we left about the difference in the needs of young men, especially as they're going through adolescence, and also young women. So if we're talking about even if the father's in the house, because a lot of times there's even though the father's in the house, but it's more like a business agreement. Like it's doing things just for financial, because we've built a life together, and we have whatever we have, and so it's not the father or is not really a participant, or the mother's not really a participant. So how does that affect the kids? They, like we hear a lot of times about all these rich people. Their kids grow up with the nannies taking care of them and all these different things. But how can that affect them also?
Well, I think that what happens is, if you're in anybody's life, especially if we're talking about parents have to learn how to be available, emotionally available. And if they are not available to help their kids navigate through the things that happen in life, it can build in trauma that can affect them, and they live out of, for basically they can take into their own marriage and their own situation, because again, there's a biblical kind of an idiom that says that the sins of the father will be visited upon the son. And so again, that DNA, it's strong, and things can be nurtured in as well, just by being in a certain environment. That's why people, they grow up and they don't want to be like their father or their mother, but they become their father and their mother. And so again, it's really about being emotionally available and knowing what emotions to help to develop and to get strong. And so if the parents are in the home, they just have to be emotionally available. A lot of us, we come from homes that there wasn't just the only emotion that you saw was anger. You didn't see, love and caring and kindness because most parents were on the grind and they just didn't have time to do that. I remember one of the scenes, and I don't know the movie. It's an old movie. I think James Earl Jones was in it, and I think Denzel Washington did somewhat of a readaptation of it. And his son was saying, but you don't like me, and the father was saying, I don't have to like you.
Oh yeah, I know.
I don't have to like you. And I disagree. I disagree with that. A son should believe that their father has some type of affinity for them. I understood what they were saying. Hey, I bring the food home and I put it on the table and yada, yada, yada. And those same kids I'm probably going to see in therapy when they become adults because their parents were not emotionally available to them and they just had this hardcore way of raising them. And I'm not blaming anybody because of the environments that they grew up in were hardcore and they did what they felt they should do. But people can only give you as much as their capacity would allow them to give you. And so, and what you need to understand, no matter how things turn out, say you missed it, your parents weren't emotionally available. Okay, we get it, but now you've got to take responsibility now for putting yourself in a position to where you're emotionally healthy so that you don't pass on this same chronic ailment to maybe your kids. And so
Right, and I would suggest therapy because it's hard to tell, like the kid, I think at the time he was 11 or 12. It's hard to tell a kid like that I don't like you and I don't have to like you. When your thing is, you see all these other loving parents out there, you're thinking, well, why don't my parent love me? And even though you're taking care of them, so it's it's hard after you grew up in that environment, like you say, not to.
But it's not that the parent didn't love them. The parent didn't have the capacity to properly express that emotion. They missed that chip. And so what happens is we go out into the community and out into the world, and now there's a group, maybe a gang, that seems like they have an affinity for me and they like me. As a matter of fact, they give me a little nickname that says that they like me. My name is, Herman at home, but they call me Little Deuce Trey Dog. And they like me and everybody cheers me on.
Too.
And I feel empowered. I feel like I belong. Now, that's twisted, but the door was open because maybe that parent didn't know how to express that and make that connection. It doesn't change the fact that the kid still has to be disciplined and all these things have to go on, but you've got to feel that, your parents like you or love you. I mean, I felt my father loved me. I felt my father liked me most of the time, but but we had an interesting relationship.
Right, and it's interesting that you say that because that's true. That if your parent treat you a certain way and you grow up and like you say, it's passed down. Because I actually worked with a guy one time, and he would come and tell me how him and his wife, they're always having these fights because his wife wants him to hug the kids. And he goes, I just can't. I goes, well, why can't you hug your kids and tell your kids you love them? He said, I can't. He goes, there's something inside me, I can't. He said, because I grew up in a house, no one did stuff like that.
Exactly.
My parents never hugged me and told me they love me, so I just can't. And so you're right, it passes down. So once you get to this point, how do you correct it? I mean, of course, someone has to step out to correct it, but it's hard, especially for men. I mean, it's hard enough as it is for us to, do the whole love you thing, but if you grew up in that environment, now you want all of a sudden for him to change or this person to change to correct it for his family. So there's very few options because if he, like he said, he wanted to, but he just said he just couldn't. I can't.
Well, the first thing that you've got to do is listen. Listen, because most children will in some way signal to you that they have a need for something. Sometimes it's in their quietness, sometimes it's in their acting out. And you have to really listen and then be open to getting new information or having a mind renewal of sorts, that it doesn't have to be the way that it was done to me. Maybe I need to change this paradigm a bit and let's do something new. Because especially with these modern children, I mean, they're different than when I grew up. Neighborhoods were different. You know, we had curfews, and there's no such thing as a curfew now because you can bring all of social media into your house at any time. You can always be out even though you're in. And so it's a dynamic that's shifted, and we've got to learn how to work with this new modern age young people that are really infected and deluged by so much information. And you know, the tragic part is sometimes our kids are a little smarter than us.
That's true. And like you said, when we were kids, we had to be made to come in the house. Now they have to make the kids go outside because everything is there. The computers, all these things, social media, everything is right here for them. You know, they don't even leave the room. You wonder, hey, are you still alive in there?
Exactly.
Because now there's no need.
And they're really not in the room.
Right.
You
right.
think they're in the room, but they're out in cyberspace
Right.
somewhere. And they're getting all types of information that as a parent you may not know or you might not even approve of, but you're in the other room in your cyberspace on whatever you do. And so there's not this coming together and laughing around the table as some may have experienced. And I believe that all families need to have that time together to where they disconnect from social media and get to know who lives in the house with you.
Right. I mean, they're sitting next to each other, and
Oh yeah,
no one's talking.
Hey, it's just
no one's talking.
It's just
you know?
not young people. It's
No.
everybody. It's everybody.
Right. I mean, even now, you know, before it was young people. Now you see the older people doing it, and you know, they said now that there's more accidents and deaths because people are on their devices, crossing the street, getting run over.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just we're all, you know, you even see the grandmas now, not only on social media, but they're doing what the granddaughters are doing.
To raise a family in this environment, it has to be your goal. It just doesn't happen through osmosis. You have to be very intentional when you're raising a family now. You have to know what's healthy, and you have to be willing to sacrifice the time in order to do it. And sometimes sacrificing time for family, it takes away from your own personal social time. And folks have to be willing to do that because the children, they are our future. And we want to give them the best opportunity that we can to live somewhat healthier lives.
Right, because what we're doing now, I say we as a whole, as humans, we're getting the social media and all those things to be our babysitters.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Even in therapy now, they have so many models that address social media addiction, where a child would rather you punish them for 1,000,000 years than to take their phone or their computer or their tablet away from them.
Right.
It's just, you do whatever you want to do, cut my hair off, you know, whatever. I'll never go outside, but let me, you know, stay on social media because, again, I can be in the house and out of the house at the same time. I can be far, far away from home, and I can be interfacing with strangers even on a social media platform, which can be very, very, very dangerous.
Right, because even though they have the different video games and all that they play, they can play with anybody around the world.
Anybody
around the world. And, you know, you get addicted to that. And, you know, while you're doing it, you don't know who's coming in, cutting in on it, who's like, you know, we have a lot of these situations where the grown men are pretending to be a a child or something like that, and
Yeah,
all the different
yeah.
things that they do.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Right. And so, like I say, quality time is important. Hey, we're going to go take a break, and we'll be right back.
All right.
You're listening to Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I'm your host, Ricky Perry, and we are affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and Sports, where we broadcast over 5 million households in the greater Los Angeles area. If you missed our previous shows, you can watch us on our streaming networks on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and the Android app.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951-378-5316, 951-378-5316.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio Talk Show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about. So join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Hey guys, it's Damon, Mr. Foxy, Damon Hart, and I'm here with the real men of real estate. And I just want to say, hey, come and watch us this Sunday, 1 p.m. live, every Sunday. Okay, we're going to be on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. If you got a minute, just tune in. We can't wait to have you here. I'm going to be there. If you can't make it on there, we're going to be at Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, or Android app on Building Solid Foundations channel. So tune in. But you know what you got to do in the meantime. Keep it foxy.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Now, you know, when we left off, we talked about, you know, how they're using social media and these different games and everything to babysit the kids. But I'm not going to throw any shade on those people because a lot of times, you know, we found out that it's hard to get babysitters and they're expensive. Babysitters are expensive. And so, you know, I notice even I see like the little kids, they're on the phones playing the games, what have you. I mean, little like not even 2 years old.
Sure.
You know, so that helps to keep them calm and all that. But my question is, how has the family dynamic changed from the way it used to be till now? Because, you know, before, like we were talking about dinner, everybody eats dinner in a separate place. I mean, everybody gets their food or go to their room, or everybody's eating at different times. But back when we were kids, you know, dinner time was dinner time.
Right.
That means if you're not at the table in time for dinner, then you don't eat. And so how has the things changed over the years for the whole dynamic of the family?
I think that you hit it on the head. I think social media is a component of the change. And I think also individualization is also, you know, everybody gets to do their own thing and be their own thing. And there's no glue that holds everybody together,
Right.
As a family unit. But again, you have to be real intentional to make that happen. We talked earlier about, you know, a high percentage of single parent households. And again, I love that you said, I'm not going to throw any shade, because it's difficult sometimes to judge a situation unless you're in that situation. You
Right.
know? You might need to put that tablet out where you're doing one thing where the child can be occupied, but you want to be careful with overstimulation where they have to always be stimulated and there's no real rhythm or rhyme in their lives. They say that we're one of the most sleep deprived societies ever because everything is always open, and when you're not in the right rhythm, it can affect everything in your life. So if you're going to do it, you've just got to be real intentional. I mean, the parents are the parents and the kids are the kids, and you can't abdicate, that word I'm trying to use there. You can't not just not live up to your responsibilities for being a parent. And so you have to be a parent and know that you have to be the teacher in the home, and you have to be very intentional to have family time and to deal with all the different sibling rivalries and fights around the table. I mean, at a point, parents do get exhausted and they say, okay, go to your room and everybody get on their own tablet and do what you do. If you don't have your own room, obviously, now there's another fight for who's going to be on the video game for the social media time. So it's a dynamic that's changing, but in order to get some balance, you're going to have to be really, really intentional and patient and emotionally available, and just know how to find some self-care for yourself so you can breathe and take a chill pill. Otherwise, you could be pretty squirrely.
Right. So a lot of people, they finding self-care for them to breathe by their own social media all the time.
Yeah.
So there's a reversal of it, from the time they get up to the time they go to bed. I know people, they send out stuff and I'm thinking, aren't you supposed to be working?
Yeah.
And so now what we've done, we've used that it start off as a free time, but it becomes addicting. I mean, because sometimes I'll be sitting there doing something, I'm working, then something pops up. Next thing I know, I start reading the pop-ups, and it's like an hour's passed by. Goes, man, I've been sitting here on this thing for an hour already.
We don't appreciate what I believe that God has made available to us as far as self-care is concerned. I mean, one of the things that God has made available to us all is breath. We've got to learn how to breathe, how to intake oxygen, how to just sit still and breathe and be with yourself in yourself. We don't take advantage of nature the way we should. We ought to be taking our kids on some nature walks and doing some hikes. And, there's some things that are other than using a little fuel here in Southern California. I mean, we've got oceans and lakes and, we've got Big Bear, we got snow. Southern California is just a place to be as far as
With
self-care
right.
is concerned. And you've just got to manage it. You've got to schedule it, and you've got to do it, because young people only get to have these experiences as adolescents once, and you don't want them to take that adolescent mindset into adulthood. And so you've got to be really, really intentional, and you can't blame it on social media. You've just got to take accountability and say, hey, this is what we're going to do this weekend. This is what we're going to do, and take advantage of nature. Get out and breathe.
Right. Even at mealtime, because at mealtime, if you eat together, you can use that time to talk to each other, to find out what's going on in each other's life. Like, hey, I mean, like you said earlier, about you notice the behavior changes. But if you're always here and they're always there, you don't see them enough to notice behavior changes. But if you can sit down, like we say quality time, if you can sit down with them during mealtime, then you can talk to them like, hey, what's going on? And you get a chance, like I always tell people, when I go visit my parents, I say, so I'm going to go talk to them and so I can look in their eyes. So this gives you a chance to look in their eyes and talk to them and really see what's going on in their life.
But you have to be available and have a certain level of emotional intelligence, because you can turn mealtime into horror time.
Right.
You can turn mealtime into horror time where nobody has their own agency, nobody has a voice. And so you really have to, again, be intentional, be open, be willing to listen, even to the children.
Right.
And not be so hard and fast to smash things down because you don't understand them, or you guys didn't do it that way back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, we always think back in the day was the best day, but I always think our best days are ahead of us. We just need to learn more, and we just need to be more intentional about family, and then know what battles to fight. Maybe it's not the battle of the meal table. Maybe that's not the time when you're doing what you do because
Right.
somebody's grabbing their food and it's football season. You're not going to get many people that want to sit around the table and chat. Even if it's dinner time, you're going to take your plate and go into wherever the television
Right.
is, and you're going to do what you do. And so, know what battles to fight as a parent. And if you're going to be intentional about mealtime, make mealtime special for
Right.
everybody.
Something everybody want to look forward
Yeah,
to.
make it special for everybody. Cook some meatloaf or something. Turkey meatloaf for me, though. Turkey meatloaf for me because I don't eat beef. So you can entice me to come to the table. It might be whose favorite dessert is it this week. And now you come into the table, and that mealtime is a time of no judgment. You have to have, especially in this modern era, you've got to have safe places for people. And if the table is determined not to be a safe place because one person is always going to be getting it, then you're defeating the purpose.
Right. Say every time, okay, this is your week to pick. This is whatever. That way, everybody feels important, or everybody gets something they want, as opposed to
Right.
no, every day this is what we're gonna have, and whatever little Johnny wants, or
Right.
whatever mommy and daddy wants,
Right.
because it's healthy. But of course, we do want to eat healthy. Like you say, sometimes you just want to have fun and sit there and you're laughing.
Make
Right.
it fun.
Right.
Make it fun. I mean, get out and play some board games. They don't even play board games anymore.
Do they
Play
even
some
make 'em?
Monopoly. They still have
Okay.
Monopoly. They still
All
have
right.
Monopoly.
Yeah,
Make family time fun. Life is strenuous and stressful enough. I mean, you got to
Right.
go and check on grades. You got all kinds of things going on, and the home should be just a safe space.
Right, right. Because even with games, we was playing this game where you take and you put the blocks in and you try to pull the blocks
Jenga,
out.
I think it's called Jenga.
Yeah, Jenga. Even certain things like that, simple games, not as opposed to the computer games, can be fun. It's like,
Oh, absolutely.
then after,
Absolutely.
everybody laugh and come together. And
Absolutely.
it's-
And there
yeah.
should be family time because with family, you're building memories.
Right.
I can sit back and laugh at some of the things that my kids did growing up, or I can even go back as far as laugh at some of the things my brother and I we did growing up in that space, maybe around the table, maybe just at home. And so just make it a safe space
Right. Because I remember.
and a
we were-
disciplined space.
Yeah, yeah. I remember my brother and I, we would grow up, we would do things like we would take we had bunk beds. So we would take the spreads off the bunk bed and make a tent.
Yeah.
Just some simple stuff back then, and we had the most fun doing these things.
Yeah, kids still do that today.
Oh, do they?
Kids are still kids. You just have to be intentional and creative. I mean, everything doesn't have to be taken over by social media. It really, really doesn't. I mean, it causes you to be overstimulated, and when you're not engaged in social media, you could be lethargic. And personally, I would rather be around people than staring at a computer.
Me too.
Yeah, I would rather be
Me
around
too.
people.
All the laughs and all the things that goes with
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely.
And a computer can't hug you when you're feeling sad or talk to you. It can talk to you, but
They're
can
trying,
talk to you, but
they're trying to work
not the
on
right
They're
thing.
trying to work on
Right.
getting computers to be emotional with all this AI and artificial intelligence. So I don't know. I think that we've got to have a human experience in this world of so much technology.
definitely. I know even now in school, they give all the kids computers now. And so if you're a parent and you're not computer savvy, that can affect the child's education, because when they come to you and ask you a question, if you don't know how to do it, and then they're not getting explained, I think COVID taught us a big lesson about how valuable teachers are.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
before COVID, everybody was, oh, the teacher's just doing this to my kid. My teachers, they're not teaching. But then once you had COVID and you were at home and you had to teach the kid,
different
different
perspective.
situation.
Different
Okay.
perspective. Now you see things differently.
yes. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I'm your host, Ricky Perry, and we are affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and Sports, where we broadcast to over 5 million households in the greater Los Angeles area. If you missed our previous shows, you can watch us on our streaming networks on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and the Android app.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951-378-5316, 951-378-5316.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about. So join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio.
Hey guys, it's Damon, Mr. Foxy, Damon Hart, and I'm here with the real men of real estate. And I just want to say, hey, come and watch us this Sunday, 1 p.m. live, every Sunday. Okay, we're going to be on KCAA Radio. 10:50 a.m., 106.5 FM. If you got a minute, just tune in. We can't wait to have you here. I'm going to be there. If you can't make it on there, we're going to be at Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, or Android app on Building Solid Foundations channel. So tune in. You know what you got to do in the meantime. Keep it foxy.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm here with Harold Weber, and this is the Fabulous Lifestyle. You know what? Our time is winding down. So can you tell us how can we get help with this? How can we help us, or what can we do to improve our situations?
Well, one of the things that I would really suggest is if you have a family that appears to be dysfunctional, no one is ever happy, it's just yang all the time, I would really encourage people to invest in a session or 2 or 3 of some family therapy, because a family is a system, and like a mechanical system, like your car, something can be off, and you're trying to push something through something that's not working, and you create more of a problem. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be open to getting information. Just like if your child was physically ill, you take him to urgent care, and there's a prescription for that. I mean, if you go and you've got a cold or a virus or flu-like symptoms, you're going to get the same prescription that most people get that come through there. There's a prescription also for a healthy family. You don't have to go it alone. You can go to a therapist and they will write you a prescription, a holistic prescription, things that you can do, things that you can change in how everyone behaves to bring you to a place where there's just greater joy in that family. So I would suggest that people call a therapist. Don't call your uncle. Don't call
Uncle Earl.
Don't call Uncle Earl or Aunt Jessie, but call a therapist. And they're more than willing to reach out to our agency in Riverside. The number there is 951-571-9096, 951-571-9096. There are multiple therapists there. You might want a female therapist, a male therapist, a family therapist, a therapist for individuals. You can always ask for me if you feel that I could be of any service to you. You can ask for Harold Weber. They know me there, and I'd be more than happy to take some time with you and to help you at least identify where some of the challenges are. If you want to email me directly, if you have a question, you can email me at hweber@thegrove, THEGROVE.cc. That's hweber@thegrove.cc. But I would just even support groups. Some churches, some community organizations, they have parenting groups for single parents,
Right.
for dysfunctional families. Go out and get some help. Other people have gone through what your family is experiencing. One of the problems that you have in some cultures and some families, you want to keep everything secret. You know, we come from that family. Whatever goes on in this family stays in this family. And unfortunately, we found out some ugly things that have happened in families that have traumatized people for years and years and years until somebody ultimately says that, hey, this happened in our family and it wasn't right. And it has affected everybody.
Right.
The silence even affects
Silent
everybody. And you
killer.
find yourself trying to protect something that should not be protected. So I would really, really recommend that you find some support. Don't sit there and pull all your hair out and stress out and
No, I don't have
and go through these processes, because we just need more information. There is a prescription for your family dynamic that if indeed your family will do the work, you'll find some really positive results.
Especially today, because it's not like years ago with the mental awareness. I mean, there's insurance company that covers personal therapy and family therapy. So you can reach out, even if they can't reach you, you can reach out to your health provider. And
They'll make
just
a
tell them.
recommendation. They'll make
Right.
referrals. They have
Right.
therapists on their approved therapists on their list that will accept whatever insurance, and most insurances will at least allow you up to 6 to 8 personal therapeutic sessions, and I would recommend that you utilize them. Go in and check it out. You'll find that it's beneficial. Especially, listen, let me put a plug in for the men.
Yes.
Men. And let me say this, especially, I can speak for African American. I can't speak for them, but I can speak as it for who comes through my office. And the people that I see less of are African American men, because African American men, they have this stigma about therapy,
Right.
that means that you're somehow crazy.
Right.
No, and we take that word out of a process, because mental health is real, and you can have every level of mental health issues, and you ought to come and get a checkup to make sure that your reasoning and how you process, it's able to get you what you want. Because if your reasoning and process is not able to get you what you want, then you're using the wrong tools.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, Harold.
Oh, time's up?
Time's
We
up.
gotta go?
I know we have.
Oh,
I hate to go.
man.
I hate to go. But to the audience, Harold will be back, because we're gonna do this special for Black History Month, and so it's called Black America Then and Now. He's gonna be joining me, and I look forward to it. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Harold, for coming again.
Thank you. Thank
I
you,
look
sir.
forward to the next show.